Do not do what I did. When I first started decluttering my space, it was the pile it up without a purpose method. This isn't really a method at all. I would just heap everything onto a bed, onto the floor. Wherever I was, I would just pile things up. It was completely haphazard, very, very overwhelming. I burned myself out quite quickly doing this. I made a huge mess. It was very discouraging. One method that will always work, in my opinion, no matter if you have a huge house, a small house, a fairly messy house, or a complete disaster, is decluttering by location. I believe that this is the most foolproof way to declutter. I had the right idea when I started out. I thought, I'm going to declutter my pantry. I'm going to declutter my closet. And so I had that kind of idea going, but still you have to break it down even farther. I like the declutter by location approach because things are very well mixed up together in your home. So going by category can be quite exhausting when you have to gather everything up. There are a couple of rules that I love to follow when decluttering by location or decluttering in general. I like to go into the space. Let's say I'm decluttering a pantry. This is the pantry that I had in an apartment that we were living in while my home was being built, and I needed to go through this. It's a really small pantry, as you can see, and I thought, okay, I'm not going to overwhelm myself. I'm not going to look at this whole thing as one giant project. So what I did, and I still think this method holds up really well, is I got a box to clutter inside of this. If you get interrupted, you can set the box aside. Let it be large enough that it will take you about 15 minutes to go through it. I think that's a fair amount of time. You can make quite a lot of progress in that amount of time. So again, you're not looking at the entire pantry in this example as one giant project. You're looking at it as a box worth. Maybe this is a shelf. It's so much more approachable this way, and you're not making a giant mess. From here, I absolutely love Dana K. White. She has a 5-step decluttering system. I think it's amazing. She would say, look for trash first. So you're gonna pile some stuff into a box. Again, if you're easily overwhelmed. If you're not, forget the box. Get right in there and just begin. Look for trash. And Dana loves this, and so do I, because it forces you to look at each item individually. Even if you get interrupted after 3 minutes by a crying toddler, you have already made progress. You can go and throw this garbage away, and the pantry is better than when you left it. Step 2 in her approach is look for the easy stuff. This is stuff that just needs to be relocated in another area of the home. I really noticed this is an only handle it once approach as well, because she's gonna say relocate this on the spot. This can seem like it's taking up precious time, precious energy. You want to stay with the project. In this case, I say pick up an item. You know exactly where it goes. You know you need it. It's super, super easy to relocate it. I'm going to say quickly look through the box. Just take 1 second and see if there's anything else that can be relocated in that same area of the house. This will save you trips. It will help you feel a little bit better, but you have to make sure that it's stuff you know you use. Don't just say, oh, I know this goes in another area of the house, I'm gonna run it there as well, when you didn't even think it through. Maybe you could have decluttered that item. It has to be something you know for a solid fact that you use and that you need. You're going to get up and relocate it now. Again, this is a progress only approach, which I think it takes a little bit of energy, but decluttering does. There is absolutely no way around that. But that way, if you do get interrupted, if you have to stop, again, you've made progress, you've relocated the items. Step number 3, she calls donations, things that are so completely obvious a donation. It's not trash, it's not broken, it still has life left in it, but honestly, you don't use it, you don't even need it anymore. And you probably, to be honest, forgot you had it. So these are donations, things that are very, very easy. Okay, so we've gotten to this point in her decluttering system, which you have not had to expend any emotional or mental energy. Yes, it's been physical because you've been handling each item and you've been relocating throughout your house, but you have not had to make any tough decisions yet. Isn't this brilliant? So I love this. You can stop at any point. All right, now things are gonna get a little bit trickier. Let's say you find something super random. This is just a magnet. It can go on a refrigerator. It can go on a chalkboard, magnetic chalkboard. You can write on it, draw on it, whatever. All right, so let's say I come to this item and it's really stumped me. I'm gonna say this wasn't a dud donation. I'm kind of like, I don't know what to do with it. I'm gonna ask myself a couple questions. First of all, where would I use this most often? Now, Dana K. White herself would ask, where would I look for this first? I like asking, where would I use it most often? So I'm gonna go on to the second question now. This one's Dana's. She said, would it occur to me that I already have this if I were to go looking for a little magnet board? Would I already even know that I had one? The honest to goodness answer is no. I would have no idea that I already own this. It gets decluttered. It's gone. You do not have to think a single thought past that. Now, if it's something you're like, I'm not sure, I might use it. If I were to use it, I'd probably use it in the kitchen. I'm gonna take it there now. I'm gonna go put it in the kitchen. Let's say I go and to put this on the fridge and the fridge is completely full. It's got the bills I wanna pay, my menu board, the kids' artwork, on and on and on. And there's literally no room for it. I'm either gonna have to say, oh well, I don't have the space to store this, or I'm gonna have to take down some of the other stuff. I'm gonna have to take my menu board down or take some of the kids' artwork down. I am not going to allow myself to continue to pile up and disrespect the boundaries in my home. So no matter where you're putting this, whether it's in the office, in the car, on the front of the refrigerator, you have to make sure there's room for it. Otherwise, something else has to get decluttered, or you have to let that one go in the end. There is no bin of relocate items at the end. The problem with relocate items, at least in my experience, has been I don't get to it. It gives me a false sense of accomplishment because everything's contained. In my mind, contained equals organized. So I'm not thinking about that bin at the very end. Plus, I'm exhausted. I just finished a whole bunch of decluttering. I made a bunch of decisions. I'm tired. I don't now at the very end want to take this giant bin of relocate items all throughout my house. So what's going to happen? One of two things. One, I'm just going to leave it there thinking in my mind, even subconsciously, it's organized. I have already dealt with it because it's contained. This is a false sense of accomplishment. It's a trick. Do not fall into this trap. Or two, I just leave it and the kids go through it. I rummage through it and everything gets scattered around. Nothing being put back where it belongs. So now I've just got a big mess in my house again. So I don't love this. I used to try this. I used to try and do this. It was never successful. So Dana's method, the take it there now, or the only handle it once approach, I think is far more successful, even though it requires a little bit more physical involvement throughout the process. So I obviously recommend decluttering by location first and foremost. If this is not the approach you want to take for whatever reason, and you want to declutter by category, I actually see a few benefits to this. It actually allows you to see exactly how much you have, showing you where duplicates are. If you're working on your wardrobe, it shows you where you have gaps. Oh my gosh, I don't have a single pair of dark wash denim. You know what I mean? You have a really clear overview of how much you have. This is the Marie Kondo method, where she's gonna say, I want you to acknowledge how many possessions you really have. So this is kind of the pile it up, but it is an organized approach to the pile it up method. If you have somebody working alongside you who can help you go through your entire house and collect every book, every short sleeve shirt, whatever category you're working on, this might be a really sweet approach, but I say don't do this without help. I also love how it helps you choose your favorites first because you can see it alongside everything else. If you've got 5 black t-shirts, you can easily pick out your favorite 2 or 3 because they're right next to the other ones. So there is some value in that, but again, I think you need to have help, and I think you need to have a fairly organized house to begin with. And then again, the major drawback of this approach is that you're expending so much physical energy right up front, gathering everything, making a big heap, a big pile. What if you get interrupted? you're gonna be exhausted before you even begin. Let me know in a comment what you think. Do you think the declutter by location is 100% hands down the way to go, or are you a declutter by category all the way? Don't worry, either way, I've got you covered for 2024. I'm gonna take you through an entire year and help you declutter your space. I hope you stay tuned for that. I'll see you soon, guys. Bye.